Hello and welcome to SW6 Essential. You can tell by my voice that I'm not happy to be making. I'm happy to be making these videos. I love doing it with Joe Sansom,
Hello, yeah, I love it as well. I think I know what you're about to say though.
but I'm not loving the situation. And like my beard, as you can notice, my hopes have not quite gone, but they're fading. They might grow back. You never know. Joe, it's nice to see us representing the Fulham 12 to 13 season. Show your stripes today.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of my favourite kit campaigns, along with I think the same year, maybe it was the year after, Com Op Fulham for the orange kit, like the Dutch
Oh,
sort of
that was the
campaign.
same. That was the same
Was it the
season
same
because
year?
that was the away shirt.
Oh
Oh,
well,
it's nice.
whoever was in charge of marketing that year was on fire.
It's nice to be talking about a season where Fulham weren't struggling for relegation or going for promotion. They were just bang in the middle of the table. Joe, since we last spoke, which was on the live stream,
Yeah,
since we last spoke in SW6 Essential, wait, what day did we do it? Oh, yeah. Brighton beat Tottenham and Liverpool, and Fulham lose to Leicester last night and draw to West Brom. Now, we touched so much on that West Brom game on the live stream that let's just focus on what happened last night and then going forward as a season as a whole. And as you can tell by the title, it's an uphill task. We're 8 points adrift. The closest team to us now are Burnley and Newcastle. And I knew it. I knew Brighton would get out of it because they're just a good team. I didn't expect it to happen within these results that they've got. But Joe, now it's a real struggle.
yeah. I mean, to be honest, ever since that Brighton game, we were sort of talking about last week. We were not optimistic, but we still thought, well, if we get something against West Brom, it's not the end of the world. And since then, just everything seems to have gone against us in terms of both Fulham, in terms of transfers, in terms of opposition results, in terms of the other teams in our sort of mini league, whatever you want to call it. People are pulling stuff out of the bag and we aren't. And it means that we're just getting in a worse position every day, let alone every time we play. I mean, we started the game week 7 points off, which was tough. Going into it against Leicester, it's not a game that many thought we'd get something out of, me included. I was more optimistic, as we said on the live stream, with their injury news, but still not thinking, oh, this is guaranteed big chance for points or anything like that. And then we come out of this game week 8 points off. And if you'd told me that, I would have thought impossible. I don't think that Liverpool are going to lose or even draw to Brighton. I just sort of thought that with that result against West Ham, they'd got back on track, but Brighton got a well-deserved win. And, when you're down, these things seem to go against you even more. I'm sure West Brom and Sheffield United fans are feeling the same. But it's one of these things where the task is getting bigger and the easy run of fixtures, easier, we should say, compared to others, is getting shorter and shorter. We had our main chances for points already. Other than that, coming up, I mean, West Ham, team in brilliant form. Palace and Everton, both hard to beat. And then we've also got the huge game against Sheffield United, who are rejuvenated. So it's looking a lot bleaker than a week ago. I haven't lost all hope because there's so many games left, but we can't let the gap get any bigger than it is now because we're already entering sort of great escape territory.
Yeah, that those three words were given a couple of weeks ago after the West Brom game, and I thought, no, not yet. I said this on Monday, didn't I? Not yet, not great escape. And now, how quickly things can turn. It is probably going to be something along those lines. I've just got the table here. We're on 14 points. Burnley and Newcastle on 22. Brighton on 24, and Wolves on 26 now. That is. It seems as though Burnley and Newcastle are the two to catch. I think Brighton have enough to get away and just start going on and pushing on. Sheffield United are 3 points behind us. They've won more games than us this season. How? I mean, They've beaten Manchester United team away, another shock result in this balmy Premier League season. But Joe, let's talk about last night. We were 2 down at half time. James Maddison was fantastic. Iheanacho with the header, and then James Justin with a goal that still frustrates me. And you had a criticism. We were talking on the group chat. You had a criticism for Joachim Andersen.
I did, and that's rare. The first goal, for a start, we won the ball back, and then Robinson gave it away with a very poor pass. So that's a mistake that we can all see. But the mistake that I thought was even bigger was Anderson had Iheanacho right in front of him in his eye line, and it's an unbelievable cross. I will not take anything away from that. It's very hard to defend. I'm not naive enough to think, oh, come on, that's horrendous defending. But it disappointed me that he could see the run that Iheanacho was making and didn't pick up on it and was just a bit off the pace. And it's rare for Anderson because I think he's been brilliant, and it just disappointed me. And it felt that as soon as that went in, I was thinking, I don't think anything is going to happen today. And then the Tosin header, which then 30 seconds later, other end of the pitch, the ball's in our net for an even more frustrating goal that I don't even want to think about because it was horrible to watch. That is sadly the difference in the Premier League between the teams at the top and the teams at the bottom. Between the middle, a lot of teams are quite similar. You know, nice footballers that are in the Premier League for a reason, lovely passes, good in possession. Once you get to the boxes, what have you got? And Leicester had it with their second string team, and we didn't have it with our first team, and that is sadly the difference.
Yeah, and you talk about players who can replace the likes of Jamie Vardy, or Iheanacho comes in and scores. And when Mitrovic isn't playing, who is apparently our main striker, Cavallero comes in, and he scored a couple, but not enough. I mean, he came on in the second half. Joe, what worried me the most about last night was in front of goal. I mean, we've talked about this all season. We've scored 17 goals this season in 21 games, and last night the ball just wouldn't stick at all. It was Mitrovic holding it up, and Loftus-Cheek dodgy touch or trying to flick it onto someone. Tete poor pass down the right hand side. It just wouldn't happen for us at all. The Mitrovic shot was blocked in the first half, and then the Tosin header, that was probably our best chance in the first half. Now I'm worried. And Josh Maja comes in. Obviously, after the live stream we did, the Josh King drama was just unbelievable. He didn't join us. He went to Everton, of course. Cabano went to Middlesbrough as well, and we can get onto that in a moment about the decisions there. But Joe, in front of goal, we looked so bad. So bad. It's all well and good being good defensively, and we have been, but now we're showing signs that we're not we're faltering slightly in the defense. But it's in front of goal, very, very, very weak.
Yeah, what annoyed me about the game yesterday was mainly that Leicester didn't create too much. I'm not going to talk about any of the tight offsides or anything like that, because same with the Southampton game a month or two ago, they were offside. Technically, those players in the context of the game do not exist. So I'm not going to criticise our defending when we call them offside. They, other than the 2 goals they scored, I remember a chance for Soyuncu that Areola saved. And I remember a chance for Barnes when it was 2-0 that Areola also saved. And nothing else clear cut. And that's what annoys me, is that, of course, if it was 0-0, I'm sure Leicester would have come out of their shell more and had to create more. But I felt that we were still quite comfortable. And despite that, they scored twice and we never looked like scoring. I mean, there's the header from a corner. There's a couple of blocked efforts from Mitrovic and Bobby Reed. Cavallero fired wide, but we never really looked like scoring. And that was the main worry. Leicester didn't have to come out of second gear, second half. We brought on another attacking option. Credit to Scott for trying to change it. Didn't really have an effect. The ball was just bouncing off Mitrovic, bouncing off Loftus-Cheek, and giving Leicester possession of the ball. And it's the first time in a while where I thought we looked a class below the opposition.
Yeah.
I think other than Manchester City, we've been in every game for a long time now. Possibly with the exception of Brighton, ironically. And yesterday was just a bit of a kick in the nuts, sort of, this is your place, Fulham. You're not as good as Leicester. And it was quite hard to take because I know that we're not as good as Leicester, but the way we played against them in the away game gave me a lot of confidence that we could replicate it, and it didn't happen.
You know what I'm going to say? I say it every week. We play better away from home than at home.
Yeah.
I just feel at home we don't create enough chances and there's not enough space for us to work our magic. Whereas at home, away, expansive pitch, always feel like we're going to get something, especially on the break. West Brom, we carved them open, created numerous opportunities. The Brighton game was a bit like, it wasn't really going our way, but there was space for us to attack. We just didn't use it properly. We didn't use the space properly. West Ham got a very, very good win last night against Aston Villa, and they are who we play next. Jesse Lingard with a double, and they are now up to 5th in the Premier League on 38 points. I mean, this is very similar to the Leicester game, a team who's good, and before the game we think, oh, maybe we could maybe get something out of this game. How do you feel going into this now? This is a must-win, and I just have zero confidence.
Yeah, I was saying earlier to you guys in the group chat that we've got that this game is a weird one because I think that West Ham will most likely beat us quite comfortably because of the form they're in, the players they've got, the way they're playing, both going forward, creating loads of chances, scoring loads of goals, and also look fairly tight at the back recently as well. It all sort of points towards a comfortable West Ham win, and that's why, there's going to be shock results. Liverpool, Brighton last night, Everton, Newcastle the weekend. One of them eventually has got to fall our way. I wonder if it could be this one. I'm not just clutching onto any straws. I'm just hoping because I expect that West Ham will beat us, sadly. I think they're a very, very good team this season. Lots of attacking talent. And ironically, the West Ham fixture in our last relegation season, the 2-0 defeat at home, really reminded me of yesterday's game.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is it was one of the first times where I went into a game against a team that at the time was doing quite well. I remember West Ham were on a fairly good run. We weren't. And for some reason, I thought it was going to click. We conceded 2 goals in the first half and missed a good chance. Tosin yesterday, Kamara threw on goal in 18-19. And in the second half, we had all the ball and we never laid a glove on them. We just played in front of them for 45 minutes. And it really reminded me of that. So I want to see something different to that against West Ham. I want to see us have an attacking plan, which we haven't had for a while now, which is quite worrying. And also, I want to see our top scorer start the game. Why is Bobby Reid on the bench for 70 minutes? It's mind-boggling.
And that brings me on to my next point. 2 wins in 21, and there is now a debate, Parker in or Parker out. And we've been here last season. There was times where I was like, I don't know if Parker is the right man. I've said it a few times this season. But I think we have to be sensible. We were here in 13-14, didn't go well, we sacked managers. 18-19, didn't go well, we sacked managers. But I don't know, Parker, he says the right things, and it makes me like him. But the moment, and someone made a good point on Twitter, I'm really sorry, I can't remember who it was, but he manages like he played. Great defensively and midfield, he sweeps things up nicely, but going forward didn't really have the goals or the impetus or the intent. And that is why he lacks in that in that area when it comes to being a manager. I don't know if you agree, but I think you're Parker in, right?
Yeah, I am. And the reason that I had doubts about Parker last season was because of our attacking football or lack of it. I felt that he was bailed out quite a lot by the individual quality that we could show in the Championship because our 11 was 9 times out of 10 much stronger than the opposition's, the exceptions maybe being Brentford or Leeds or West Brom. And we're sort of getting to that again, which worries me. I'm definitely not Parker out because I don't see what changing the manager would do at all. I think that Parker's turned around the defence quite miraculously. I know he's been given better players to do it, but we were hopeless at the start of the season. And even though we were quite poor yesterday, we were nowhere near hopeless. And he's got to do that for the attack. And I trust him to do it. He knows that we need to start winning games and scoring goals. He's got my trust to do it, but he does need to start turning the tide now, because this run where it was a nice little unbeaten run, few draws, few results against good teams, is now turning into, and already turned into actually, the longest winless run in the league. Wolves were closest to us, and they won, obviously, against 9-man Arsenal the other day. Pretty freak game, but not here to talk about that. So it's one of these things. I'm Parker in. I do not see any benefit currently to changing the manager, because I would like Parker to lead us back up if we were to go down. But he needs to start showing some attacking tactics, because at the moment, I know it's not all on him, it's on the players as well. At the moment, it seems like it's sort of go out there and then they get to the box and they don't know what to do. There isn't a plan of how to score that they've talked about before the game.
I think there is a plan in terms of the counter-attacking. I think when we counter-attack, we create some really decent opportunities, but it's when we've got the ball and we're in control and we're the ones attacking. The amount of times you go down the right or the left and it's Tete and the ball just goes nowhere. Loftus-Cheek, I said it just now, Loftus-Cheek with a bad touch. Mitrovic, it's the first touch. Even Lookman last night couldn't trap the ball to save his life. Mitrovic, it was just very, very, very frustrating. It brings me on to the next point about attacking players. 2 out, 1 in, and Parker said we're light attack. Like, why has Cabano and Kamara gone out on loan if we're only going to bring in 1? I don't understand why that deal goes through when we're still negotiating for Josh King. It's not. I'm saying Cabano and Kamara will be the difference between us staying up and going down. But off the bench, they offer something small, but something, another option. And now we don't have any of those two. And our bench yesterday, albeit Josh Madger will come in at some point, probably the weekend, looked very, very, very weak going forward.
Yeah, you had the whole back four from the start of the season on the bench yesterday. You had Brian, Adoy, Hector, and Ream. I mean, unless we're winning the game 1-0 in the last minute, I don't think they're going to offer you anything. And even then, to be honest, I wouldn't want to bring them on. So very strange. I understand one of them going 100%. I'd rather it was Kamara that went.
Really? I'd rather it be Cabano, to be fair.
Yeah, I feel this might actually be quite an unpopular opinion, but I would rather Kamara went. And the reason for that is, although he's a good option off the bench, I don't trust him.
Yeah.
I don't trust him at all, and he makes me nervous. And it's something that even in the games when he was amazing at Wembley in the playoff final 18-19, did a tremendous job last season. Sorry, 17-18 playoff final, did a tremendous job at Wembley last season as well against Brentford. I still don't trust him. I still always feel that he could do something stupid that will cost us. And a few times this season he has. Cabano, on the other hand, I think is a nifty player, not Premier League quality. I don't think either of them are, but someone that can come on, that can replace Lookman if need be. Now, who's pushing Lookman? Lookman was very poor yesterday. Other than Cavallero and Madger, if he played on the wing, there's no one that's actually going to be making him fight for his place. And that's what worries me mainly, is that the attacking players we've got have got no one on the back of their shoulders that's threatening them. Mitrovic hasn't had it. And that's arguably why he's been so poor at times. Until recently, last few months, he knew that he'd be the first name on the team sheet no matter what he did. So that's the reason it worries me. And also it worries me because if we go down, we have discarded so many players that we're going to be relying on next season. Why are the defenders, the Cabanos, the Kamaras, Hansen, all the defenders that I can't be bothered to name, there's so many of them that have gone out on loan, why are they going to want to help us get promoted for a third time, for some of them, to know that the same thing's going to happen again?
It all screams a squad overhaul. Basically, we're going to use the bright sparks who weren't on loan from this season to rebuild again for next season. And we are talking about, a possible season in the Championship next season with 18 more games to play, just under halfway through the season. but being 8 points off, it really is quite upsetting. And let's talk about, well, what did we talk about? We talked about Parker, didn't we? Let's talk about the upcoming fixtures then. I mean, we talked about West Ham, so let's talk about Everton away. That's on Sunday at the BBC. We've then still got no, it's not on BBC, it's on BT, I think. Yeah. And
yes,
then
Palace, it's on BBC. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, and we've still got to play Burnley, Sheffield United, Crystal Palace. I mean, if we were to play Burnley at any time between those games, we'd have 3 games where it'd be Burnley, Sheffield United, Palace. That'd have to be points. It'd have to be
yeah.
9.
I mean,
It'd have to be 9 points.
they've actually just announced that Burnley is going to be on the 17th of February. Fulham have just tweeted, so that's between the Everton and Sheffield United games. So it means that our next 5, if we think about it logically, I'm not talking about realistically, but think about it logically in terms of staying up. Brighton in their last 4 have won 3 and drawn 1. The 3 were against Leeds, Tottenham and Liverpool. Games that on paper, to be honest, I thought they'd lose possibly all 3 of those. And they drew against us when a game they probably should have won. They haven't conceded any goals in those games. And before that was arguably one of their worst performances of the season against Wolves 3-3, where defensively they were terrible. Now, yesterday was probably one of our poorest performances since we've changed the shape, which is arguably where our season started. Our next 5 now: West Ham at home, Everton away, Burnley away, Sheffield United at home, and Palace away, are basically 5 games where I think we need 3 wins out of those 5.
Minimum.
And it's unbelievable what that would do. Do I think it's going to happen right now? No. But if it did, then there's no way it's all over. But this run that we keep on talking about, it's going to start against Brighton at home, Newcastle away, Southampton at home, never started, and it still hasn't started. The draws don't basically equal a run. And now this is basically last chance saloon, because after that we've got Liverpool and City. And I know there's some shock results, but we have to look realistically. How many more are there going to be?
And then Leeds at home, Villa away, Wolves at home, Arsenal away, Tottenham. Oh my goodness. Tottenham at home, Chelsea away. This is it. This is the 5 games now, starting Saturday.
Yeah, it is.
I'm struggling to see where the points are. I really am. I'm not going to throw in the towel until it is mathematically impossible. I will still be watching every game, still be cheering at them on every week, still be getting behind them. But it really, really does look bleak. And if we don't pick up the points soon, especially in that group of 3 games, we've got that Burnley game now on the 17th, the Sheffield United, then the Palace game. It is going to be a impossible task. And we're at 18th. I mean, there's still West Brom and Sheffield United behind us, who have got even as bigger tasks as us. A lot of people are saying the 3 who are there now are already down. And I'm saying give it 2 or 3 more weeks and we'll see. What really does fear me, and I don't even want to mention this, but I'm going to have to because it's been in my cranium for the last 24 hours. A couple of things, actually, about this club. Brentford are about 17, 18 games unbeaten.
19. Sorry.
19 games unbeaten in the Championship. Remember, of course, we had that 23 unbeaten run in 17, 18 that got us promoted. Not only that, they sit 3rd in the Championship table. And it's a very, very big possibility that... oh, no, they're 2nd. They are 2nd. Although Swansea do play Norwich on Friday night. Brentford are now 2nd. And there's a very, very good chance that we do swap places with them. And look, I don't want to be chatting about this now because this is just stuff that's just going to make me sad. But I remember listening to that Brentford podcast after the playoff final, and it was like the funniest hour and a half of my life. But now I'm very much fearful. I'm very fearful that the tables do turn. What I'm hoping for is that even if we do go down, I'm obviously not hoping for that, but Brentford drop into the playoffs and then obviously don't make it through the playoff stages, and then all is well. But I'm not. This is not like what this video is about. It's not about the consequences of this. It's just a thought that I had. 25 minutes. We should probably wrap it up a little bit. The mood is not good, is it? I mean, the morale isn't. Twitter was not good last night. I don't really know what to say, Joe. Honestly.
Yeah, we should probably call it for this one, but you never know what can happen. We could go and beat West Ham, shock everyone. No one's expecting us to get anything from that game. We always lose at Goodison Park. I'm going to write that one off.
I'm not writing that one off, especially we play quite decently away from home.
Yeah, just Josh King's bagging, sadly. Yeah, I don't know. This is the 5 games. We've said before, like, oh, these are the 2 games, these are 3 games. These are the final 5 games, because if we don't get enough points from these, I genuinely don't see enough room to manoeuvre. I think it would mean that we'd have to go to places like Arsenal and Chelsea and actually come away with all 3 points. If we're going to start winning games, it has to be now, because the gap's 8 points, 9 with goal difference.
Oh God, yeah.
We do have a game in hand, so that would make it 6, including goal difference. But we basically need to win a couple and the other teams above us lose a couple. So, this is what's happened to Brighton. They got quite lucky with it. The fact that the results for us went in their favour as well. It's allowed them to open up a really nice gap. It only takes a few results to turn that around. So all hope's not lost from my side, but let's just say I am nowhere near as optimistic as I was a few weeks ago. Nowhere near.
Yeah. I do have to agree. We sat here, I remember literally 2 weeks ago after the Tottenham game, buzzing, so happy, so proud of the performance. And it's kind of just gone. It's not even been us, I would say us at fault because we've lost games. It's been the teams around us picking up these magic victories. Burnley beating Liverpool, Brighton beating Liverpool, Brighton beating Tottenham. It's just one of those seasons where it's just not going for us. And I will ask you 2 final questions. Do we now change it and go 4 at the back for every game and just go a little bit more attacking?
I would say, yeah, apart from the games against the top 6. So personally, I was actually fine with playing the 5 yesterday. I'm glad we changed it once we needed to. But I think against these games like West Ham, even though they're a good team, I think we need to go and we need to play with 4, because I think they're going to create chances no matter what. And we need to give ourselves the best chance of creating chances and scoring ourselves.
And my final question is, so far this season, who's to blame? Is it Parker or is it Tony Khan?
I'm saying overall, and I tweeted this the other day, for the season as a whole and the way it's gone, my blame is on Tony Khan. But for results recently, I cannot necessarily put the finger on him. It's a mixture of Parker and the players for the recent results and the performances. I don't think we can blame Tony Khan for that. He's got no involvement. I can blame him for the poor start, which blew away our first 4 games, crushed our goal difference, crushed our morale, means that long term, I don't know what the plan is. Are we now relying on the players that we discarded? I do blame him for not getting a striker in quick enough. And I do blame him for shipping out some of the options that we might come to need. So overall, I think that Tony Khan is to blame for the way the season's gone, because it started off on a bad foot because of him. But I cannot blame everything on him. I think it's a mixture.
It's exactly the same. I think the first 4 games, it's Tony Khan's fault that we didn't get in the priority position, which was centre-back. Albeit when we did sign them, they have proved to be quite good and very good players who I really
very good players.
But the issue is that they came in too late, which cost us points and goal difference. But in terms of the season overall, 2 wins in 21 in any normal circumstances is sackable. Parker's record is sackable, but for the way he basically, what lives in my head right now is the way he was whinging, which was perfectly fine for me. He was like cursing to himself when he was trudging off the pitch at halftime against Aston Villa, and he was probably saying to himself, "Why haven't we got in the centre backs? I asked him for centre backs, and we haven't got him." And for him to then take us rock bottom and give us some sort of identity to even be proud of this season, I give huge credit to Scott Parker, especially those games. The Liverpool game was so fantastic. But yeah, like you say, recently his before, like even not starting Bobby Reid last night, the substitutions in a few of those games at Brighton and West Brom, just a little bit naive. And yeah, so recently I would put the blame on Scott Parker, but as a whole, because of the foundation of the whole season coming down to we needed those positions, we needed those players quickly, and we didn't. Yeah, I blame Tony Khan, and yet again we saw on January and February 1st the mad rush at the end to try and get in two, and then shipping out two attackers as well.
And by the way, I'm sorry, there is no way Josh Maja was only available on deadline day.
Oh yeah.
At the last second on loan. He's not been playing for them. West Ham and West Brom were interested a couple of weeks ago, but just couldn't agree. Why did we not get this done earlier? We had two huge games before then, and that's on Tony as well. And you never know what could have happened with a new striker. We don't know how good he's going to be yet, obviously. But this is the guy we've got to rely on now. And could he have made a difference against West Brom? I think West Brom certainly, with the chance we created. And Brighton, hopefully, he'd have given us just something else as well.
And also the fact that Josh Maja comes in on deadline day means he has to get up to speed, misses the game, probably will be on the bench on Saturday. But even then, that's a game that he's missed. And he'll probably play, 20 minutes on Saturday, if that. Yeah. So, yeah, again, it's just games that have just gone by without another key man or could-be key man. I'm going to end by asking you for a score prediction against West Ham.
Oh, God. I'm going to be honest with you, Jack. I don't think I can even put a positive spin on this one. Souček is scoring.
Yeah.
For a start, he scores every single week. And even though the stats don't replicate that by the fact that he actually hasn't, I'm convinced he does, if that makes sense. Lingard's in amazing form. I'm going to say that we will draw 1-1, and I think that's quite optimistic. I think they're in good form. Antonio scares me. Fredericks on the right wing scares me.
God. Who knows how to attack the Hammers end?
I mean, I'm not being funny. Bowen was on the bench yesterday, which said a lot. If you can bring him off the bench, I think you're doing quite well. So I'll go 1-1, which normally I'd say is quite boring. Today I'd say that's quite positive.
I am going to go because of what happened at the West Ham Stadium. The fact that Souček's goal was offside, the fact that we didn't get something from that game. I'm going to say that we are going to win it in the final 5 minutes with like an own goal or like some VAR bollocks that gets us over the line, and we're going to get the win. And I have to back Fulham to win, because if I didn't, then like it would just be annoying, and I don't like having no confidence in the team, even if I really don't. But I'm going to say we're going to get like a lucky deflected goal somewhere, and a VAR decision go our way, and we're going to get the points. And that has to be the blueprint to start off what is going to be an almighty uphill task. And there we have it. I've brought it back to the title to round off the video. That is SW6 Essential for this week, and we'll see you. I suppose we'll just speak on Thursday again.
Yeah. I mean, that will be before the Everton game, won't it? So yeah.
Thank you very much for staying with us. 35 minutes. This has made me feel a little bit better, despite a couple of rants that we've both gone on.
Yeah.
Any closing remarks?
No, I think I've said everything. I mean, it's not over till it's over, but it's going to be tough. I'm trying to stay positive, but it's hard.
It's hard, especially when all the fans have almost given up as well on Twitter.
Yeah.
And just like that, 10 minutes ago, I said we're going to wrap up, and we're still here. So things never change. Thanks very
I
much
would
for
love
watching.
to see. I'd love to see a timestamp on every single video of
Yeah.
when you said we wrapped up and how long after that we went on for. I reckon with that alone, there must be like an extra hour or something.
just like nonsensical stuff, just adding it on at the end. But yeah, we have shown our stripes, and this has been SW6 Essential. I really hope that we can just talk about a Fulham win next Thursday. Come on, Fulham. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Jack.
Yeah, let's end it. See ya.